Hi, welcome back to The Grand Adventure. It's David Campbell here. Today I'm excited to welcome Jacalyn Price. Jacalyn was only introduced to me recently, but she's an amazing woman with an amazing story of business and a journey that she's been through, which is very challenging from a physical perspective. So why don't we listen in, enjoy the conversation with Jacalyn, and see what you can draw from this conversation. Let's go on the grand adventure. Today I'm welcoming Jacalyn Price to the grand adventure of business. I came across Jacalyn only recently, and a friend of mine said she'd be really worth having a chat to. And having a look at her website, I've been excited about this particular chat. So, Jacalyn, welcome to the grand adventure.
Thank you so much, David. It's a pleasure being here.
So as I said to you, I really like to treat this as a conversational chat. But I think the best way to start that is to come up with the first question, which is really, what was that moment that you realised that you were actually on a grand adventure?
I think having a disability and then being in a wheelchair for 12 years, getting off that onto crutches, off the crutches, trying to get back to where I was in pathology, I was told, you're too old, you've been out of work too long. I thought, really? So I just started looking for other ways to learn and do some business coaching and having mentors. And it just took me from doing nothing to a lot of information, learning, and joining a group and then starting our first business. And it just took me from there. And then I was invited to, with Matt Morris, I was asked, would you like to co-author with me? And I said, yes, as Richard Branson says, say yes and work it out. So that started with my first book, Breakthrough Leadership with Jacalyn Price, with 29 other leading experts. Then I joined an authors group, and that's led me to more and more co-author books. So it's so exciting. Getting a book out there, it gives you credibility and authenticity, and people get to know about you. And if I can share a story and help someone through a challenge, I've made a difference.
And I love that approach to life generally. You know, if I can actually help someone, I've made a difference. What is it that drives you to do that? Because not everyone does.
No, well, I was lucky to get out of the wheelchair. Not everyone does. I'm thinking, if I can get out of this wheelchair and help someone else get through a challenge, everyone has challenges, some are small, and they're breaking point. And if I can share my stories through the challenges I've had many, and help someone, I can get through this, have a positive attitude, and I use the power of the subconscious mind. You don't realise how powerful your mind is. And I start my day with gratitude and end my day with gratitude. Not everybody has a chance to wake up or has food on the table or a roof over their head.
So what does that, you're talking about starting and ending your day. What does that look like? How, if a listener is saying, that's a great idea, how might I do that? Can you give me a couple of suggestions as to how that might start?
So of a morning I wake up and I say, I'm so happy and grateful I woke up this morning. I have food on the table, a roof over my head. Not everybody has that opportunity. And just you're happy and grateful for a beautiful day, or having time with my dad. He's 94 now and he's in a care home, and I spend 3 to 4 days a week with him and join him for lunch. And he's had many challenges in his life. And if I can just be there with him and have that quality time, because no one knows what the next day brings.
It's such a good attitude. It's such a strong attitude. What do you feel has been the biggest challenge that you've faced?
I think getting out of that wheelchair.
Yeah. And so for the listener, are you willing to share what put you in the wheelchair in the first place?
Yeah, I had a simple fall at work 29 years ago, and I damaged the sympathetic nervous system. My left leg went numb, and I spent many months in hospital, years, having pain clinics, nerve blocks, just to try and get pain relief and then get mobility, because my left leg went numb overnight and I didn't know why. I thought I'd had a stroke. But the nervous system can do crazy things, like you might drop a peg on your foot and it feels like a brick. Nerve pain is so terrible, and I think it's the worst pain you can ever have. And controlling that pain to mindset and saying, we did a pain clinic where you visualize the pain starting in your head, going down through your body and out through your toes. And you can virtually feel it doing that. And once it's gone through your toes, you're not in any pain. And if you don't start your day with gratitude and say, I am happy, whatever you talk about, your mind thinks. If you start your day with a negative attitude, you won't have a good day.
Look, I love the way that you're approaching life. I really do. I find that fascinating. How much of a change was that from in your younger years?
I was very active in my younger years. I mean, I wanted to join the police force when I was 18, but as a female, you had to be 24 and 5'6". So I was too young and too short. So then I went into pathology and just I wanted to go into forensics in the police force, and I couldn't. So I went into pathology, and I was at the Royal Newcastle Hospital for 25 years, and I loved it.
And so have you managed to get back into pathology, or you've moved beyond that now?
I just moved. When I was told I was too old and they want young people, I said, well, I'll do something different. And then I changed what I did. Just doing some personal development, having some mentors like Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn. I have many mentors that have helped me through a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
And just joining different networking groups and meeting more people, like Sherry Leopold. It's the Women of Worth magazine, and I've done articles in their magazines. And I did a tribute to Mum through the Women of Worth magazine. It's amazing, putting yourself out there, doing articles in magazines and doing a co-author book. It gets you out there and share the things you've gone through and helping someone else get through a challenge.
And so the book that you've written, or you've co-authored in the first one, was about leadership.
Yeah, it was called Breakthrough Leadership with Jacalyn Price.
Yes.
And I just shared the challenges I've had and just trying to get through that challenge and having some mentors and coaches. So you're being a leader, sharing the challenges you've had and help someone else get through it.
And I like that. If there was one thing that you could take from that book, what would that one thing be? What would that one message be?
I've made a difference in someone else's life.
Right. I love that. I love that. So it will be interesting to answer this next question, which is very much, how do you define success? Because I think that's going to be so different from so many other people.
Just making a difference in someone else's life, touching hearts and changing lives.
I love it. I love it. It's exactly where I sit as well. I've been through this, and it is fascinating when you start to realize your own mortality and you say, you know, I want to leave a legacy. I want to touch the hearts of people. And the thing that excites me is that aha moment that someone has. And if I get to share that with them, that just drives me, you know, pick me up and throw me for the next week. It's just so exciting to see that happen. So do you have much in the way of direct contact with the people that you're impacting, or do you just receive, you know, testimonials or comments via websites?
Mainly testimonials or comments, and like my sister Jen had breast cancer, she's in remission, but I've helped her get through challenges. And, you know, but having cancer, it's a real big challenge for people. She's lucky she's in remission now and she's moving on. And I said, mate, if you can get through cancer, you can do anything.
Yeah, look, I agree. And that's one of the things I was alluding to, because I had cancer back in 2022. And it's interesting, none of my doctors have actually said to me, you're in remission. But I'm now on that, you know, we'll see you every 12 months kind of program, which is, you know, it's nice to be in that position. But one of the things I found fascinating with that, and you know, you might be able to share this with your sister. It gave me an opportunity to realise, to move what I knew in my head to what I now know in my heart, in such a massive way. And I suppose I now appreciate to a greater depth the connections and the friendships and all those sort of things that I make.
That's right. A lot of people don't understand what you're going through, and
yeah,
you know, cancers are. I mean, there's opportunities out there, and there are cancer cures, but we don't hear about that. So they just like to give you the medication and the chemo and the radiation, and it knocks your body around for so long, and the chemotherapy stays in your body so long, and you don't have much immunity at all because it kills the cancer, but it kills the good cells as well.
Yeah, that's right. But it's interesting how far we've moved on with that whole medical treatment. You know, my mother's the same age as your dad. She's just turned 94, and when she was told that I had cancer, it really, really upset her, because she'd grown through a generation where cancer was simply a death sentence. And so she had a lot to deal with through that process.
Yes.
And I found that fascinating. In terms of that kind of thing, that kind of setback, can you talk to me or tell me a story about where you've had a setback like that? What important lesson can you bring out of that setback?
I think one of the was in the wheelchair as well, but 6 years ago, I was hit by a taxi in a pedestrian crossing. And I just got thrown airborne, and I'm thinking, wow, I just went airborne yelling, and I landed on the road on my right side, and the car wheels are going past me about a foot away in the old terms, and I'm thinking I could have been run over as well. You don't realise in an instant life can change, and if I had been run over, it might have been a different story. When I did a break fall in the old judo days. That saved my body, saved my head. You don't realise the things you've done when you're younger for protection. It just automatically you do it. I mean, I shattered my arm in 6 places, and I have pins and plates and elbow replacements, but I was lucky to keep the arm, and I'm still here to make a difference.
That's so, to me, that's such a powerful position to be in. So how do you go about, obviously the book, but how do you go about finding those opportunities to make an impact?
I think being a co-author in a book, sharing a story, and if I'm on networking events, I share my story and how the Kangen water changed my life as well. I share my story, how it helped me. Now my sister's on the Kangen water and is getting rid of all the chemotherapy out of her body.
So talk to me about that.
The Kangen water, it started in Japan 50 years ago. It's a Nagic, is the company. And the Kangen water machines filter your tap water because your major water systems are basically acidic. You hear of acidic rain for a reason. The government put chemicals in it to make it alkaline, suitable for drinking, and they add chlorine to kill the E. coli bacteria in the water systems. So at any time you're drinking the chemicals and or the chlorine, and I found when I was introduced to Kangen water, because I was helping a friend with his other services, with my other business, with his mate, NBN and mobile services. He said, "What's going on?" I said, "Mate, I can't shift this bronchitis." And when I tested the chlorine in my water, it was high in chlorine. So that was affecting my bronchitis and my thyroid function levels. So with the Kangen water system in my kitchen and bathroom, I've eliminated the chlorine. So no more problems with my bronchitis, and my thyroid levels have returned to normal, and I'm using less medication. You don't realise the simple thing of changing your water and filtering your water, no matter whether you use Kangen water systems or another one. It's the importance of filtering that water, getting rid of the chemicals, and if you can, the chlorine.
How did you find out about it?
Well, that's when I was helping Mark with his services. He asked why I was so sick. I said, "Mate, I can't shift the bronchitis." He said, "I have a solution for you, and it's water."
Right.
And I said, "Really?" So they explained it more. I said, mate, I need this. So I ordered my system. Within 2 weeks, I had it. Within a month, no more bronchitis. And I haven't looked back.
That's an amazing journey. And you're obviously the right word's not coming to my mind, but you're an avid, not seller, but you're an avid witness, I don't know, for this kind of approach.
Yes. You just have to be, because life's too short. I mean, age is a number. Like, man, I'm in my 70s, but age is a number. You see people in their 50s that look old. You say, no, yes. Live life to the full. Live every day like it's your last. Enjoy life.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I love your approach and your frankness, and I think I find this with it's almost a generational thing. As you get beyond the 60s, etc., you start thinking, I don't really care if I upset someone, because they'll get over it.
That's right.
But they need to hear this. So, and I find that really interesting. So tell me, Jacalyn, in terms of your experience in sort of getting into authoring and all the rest of it, what skills and traits do you think are essential?
I think accepting that you do have a challenge, and personal development. Everyone needs personal development. You're learning from coaches. All coaches have coaches. Mm-hmm. If you can learn from the best that have gone through the hard times and learn how they've done it and watch what they did and follow what they do. Like, I have Zig Ziglar audios in my car. It's like a listening university while you drive.
Yeah. And it's such a true fact. I remember saying to myself when I left school, because I hated school, and saying to myself, I'm never going to bother studying ever again. And then I joined the Navy, and it became one constant journey of learning from that day onwards. And I don't think there's a time where I've not stopped learning, either formally or informally.
You're always learning. Every day you're learning from someone.
Yeah. Yeah. But even if you're not, interacting with someone, like I because I live on a property, I don't necessarily interact with someone every day. But, I come to a simple challenge and I think, gee, how can I overcome this challenge? And it's learning and yes, regurgitating stuff that you've learned in the past, but it's also applying some of that. The classic for me was we've got a dam on our property and there was a canoe in the dam, but it was so full of rainwater. Whoever put it there had left it upright or face up, and it just rained and filled with water. You couldn't move it, and I just, over a period of time, I just went along and I gave it a bit of a rock and sloshed some water out and rocked it a bit more and so on and so on and so on. And it was all that concept of, I learnt this back when I was a kid, but I'd never applied it in my adult life until that day. And so you are learning that some of even the principles that are driven into you in school can continue to teach you later in life.
That's correct. Like things way back when we were younger, schooling was different. And I really enjoyed school. And the things they learn today, they need to bring more things in to help the children get through challenges, because they come out of school and don't know what to do if there's a challenge.
Yeah, I sense that you're right with that. I really sense that we aren't really taught how to think. And it's one of my pet sort of sayings, transform the way you think by renewing your mind. And having that freedom to actually look at a problem in a different way.
That's right. And it brings you Like something will happen now and you think, oh, I learned that when I was younger. Now I know how to fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think it's exciting from that point of view. So as we move forward with this, could you share, you've mentioned mentors, you've mentioned some communities, and I'm keen that you mention, a few more in terms of communities that have been instrumental in helping you along your journey. So what could our listener actually connect with?
I think if you're a business owner, just join some networking groups. It's amazing what you learn from people in the networking groups, whether on Zoom or live. I mean, COVID put a big halt on the live ones, but now we're back to the live events and even Zoom. You're meeting people from around the world and you're always learning from other people and the skills they have. And you can always refer people to other business owners and it makes a big difference.
So what do you need to take with you when you join a network group? What would you suggest that people are prepared to do when they get into that group?
Because you're always asked to do a pitch, whether it's a 30-second or a minute pitch, and have it worked out. So if you've got a short, even a 20-second pitch, just say basically what your business is and how you can help someone. Like with Kangen Water, if I've only got a short one, say I'm an Enagic Kangen Water distributor, it's life-changing water. And if you want to clean your tap water, getting rid of chemicals and or chlorine, reach out to me. I can help you get rid of all the problems with your tap water.
That's a great pitch. And it's enough to introduce who you are, what you do, and then if someone is interested, they can talk to you.
That's right, because people take it for granted water's safe to drink. And years ago, no one thought about you drank water from your hose and everything else. Back then, it was different.
Yeah, absolutely. So if someone's looking to find you, where can they go?
LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn as well as Facebook.
Right. So you're just on as Jacalyn Price on LinkedIn and Facebook? Or
that's correct, yes.
You're on excellent. So if anyone is listening and they're wanting to reach out to Jacalyn, I'd encourage you, go there, have the conversation with Jacalyn, even if it's just to touch base and get to know her a little more. But Jacalyn, I've loved having you on board. It's great to get to know you a little more. And
thank you.
And I look forward to further opportunities for us to connect. And I know we will because we both attend Speedbiz.
Yes.
Though my attendance has been a little bit haphazard of late, because like you, I'm dealing with the elderly parents, and my mum's in Sydney, so I have to drive from Canberra to Sydney to see her. So it kind of impacts a little bit. But look, it's been great chatting to you. I really would like to catch up again.
Yes.
And you're up in Newcastle, so it's not that far in reality. So hopefully, we will see each other face to face one day.
That'd be great. And they call me the wise water woman because I solve everybody's water problems.
Good on you. All right, Jacalyn, been great chatting to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Been a pleasure. Thank you, David.
I'd like to now welcome Gary Schuler, who joins me every single episode for the Bosun's Call. Gary, welcome aboard.
Thanks, mate. I'm, in fact, quite irrelevant, but relevant. It got me thinking the interview about the importance of sometimes how lonely the journey can be for an entrepreneur. What are your thoughts around that?
It's such a good question. Such a good question. I've been pondering around this particular issue for a while now, and I found that as you think through the process of loneliness in leadership or in business isn't a sign of weakness, and we think it is. It is actually really widespread across industries, across businesses, across particular industry groups. And the funny thing about loneliness is we can be surrounded by people and still be lonely. The business owner can be totally surrounded, but not able to talk to anybody about their business because people don't understand. And so I'm currently on a bit of a push around loneliness and saying to people, get used to it. You know, Gary, 72% of CEOs admit to experiencing loneliness.
Wow.
That's a massive number. So one of the things that we're looking for when we talk about loneliness, the things that contribute to it are decision-making pressures. You know, you've got to make those decisions by yourself. That perceived infallibility. People think, you know, the boss, he knows it all. And you get this idea that everything's always got to be right. That reduced peer interaction with people who are at the same level, not your subordinates, but people who are at the same level. The inability to share some of the confidential things around your business with even the people in your business. And then you get the work-life imbalance. That whole tips over the side in terms of what we're doing. And I think loneliness is something that we really need to think about. I'd love to point you to an article that I know will be posted in the next sort of 48 hours on loneliness. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see it there. But have a look, loneliness in business.
David, a phenomenal take as always. Great input. And I'd remind the listeners to check in with what else, David? What other contact details?
So my website, david-campbell.com.au. That's the best place to get me. But then you've got my LinkedIn profile, David Campbell, Business Navigation Expert. Go to either of those. You'll be able to get in contact with me. I'd love to talk to you about how I can help you grow your business.